And we're live. Fantastic. So does anyone else want to introduce this week, or
It's your thing.
all right? Well, I'll introduce what we're talking about again. Um, so for this hangout, we're going to be talking about our initial sort of reactions and a bit of a discussion on the anime series Chaos Head, which is a bit of a mind fuck, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I thought that it'd be good to get some initial reactions, discuss what we think it's about, what's going on, some of the genres that are sort of colliding here, um, and just chat for a while. So, who wants to start with some of their you guys' initial reactions to it?
We should put a PG, I mean an M15 plus warning on this because you just swore.
Yes, we should.
Okay. Do you want
That's
to
all right.
go? Okay.
Me? I don't know, as Nathan was saying, it was pretty out there, I thought. The intro song, I don't know, it was like the longest intro song I've ever seen to a television show. That was I don't know why that was just came off my head right then, but yeah, as I was watching it, that was the first thing. It was like this long intro song. I don't know why, just yeah,
Do
it
you
was
watch
something that
much anime?
pun?
Have you seen much anime?
No. So that's probably why.
Okay.
Is that something that's
They often have,
yeah,
yeah, they often
is
have
that
quite
common?
long intro and outro songs.
Okay. Don't know why. Just that was just something that I picked up on. Um,
How many times have you watched it?
me.
Yeah.
Um, I've only watched it. I only watched it once, but I watched it yesterday, so it's still pretty clear in my mind at the moment. So
Yeah.
What
yeah, that
I
was
episode
just.
did you get up to? So I have some
Hmm?
sort of idea. What episode did you get up to?
I watched the first three, so I
Okay.
just watched them all in a row because they're
Yeah.
not they're not that long, which was surprising. I thought they would be like an hour long or something, like the standard episode time of a television show is like I think like 40 minutes plus like 20 minutes of ads, but that's like if you're watching it on TV or something. But yeah, so I was surprised. I thought it would go longer.
I think lots of them are edited to be like to fit into half-hour slots.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think that's like I obviously I don't watch them on TV. I only watch them sort of downloaded or like off DVDs or whatever. So there's no ads.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Because I guess they don't get aired in Australia really.
Yeah. We're never going to experience them as a TV show kind of thing. It's going to be always on the YouTube, I think.
Yeah,
Unless we
fair.
go over there, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, it's like an accessibility issue as well. Is you can't get this kind of content in Australia or like on mainstream television at least.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I was shocked by the long intro as well. And the translation of what they were saying. I was like, what? Yeah, it was pretty dark what they were saying. But then I was trying to work out what is dark. Like, are they saying that technology is bad? Or are they saying that technology is the savior? I don't know.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I thought initially that it was kind of warning us about the negative impacts of technology because of like how he talks to the anime girl, and like he just wants to stay in that kind of world and not be with 3D people, sort of thing. So yeah, that's how I interpret it
Mm.
as. But then, of course, someone might say, "Oh, but there's also positives. Like the show's also promoting kind of positive impacts of technology." So, but yeah, that was my interpretation.
Yeah, in the intro, it kind of seems like they're saying the world around them is crumbling, and like that's the world, like the real world is crumbling. So all you've got is the digital world, kind of thing. I don't know. Like the real world's a mess, so go to digital. Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
it's definitely got
Yeah.
some like technology themes throughout it,
Yeah.
and that sort of a otaku culture of the main character.
What is that?
Um, it's like the I guess he's a very good example of it, but of sort of hiding away, being obsessing over video games and anime. Um, it's sort of a negative, has negative connotations as well. I guess sort of like that you're like social outcast and that sort of thing. Um, I guess it's sort of what you'd call like Western nerds and geeks, but
Mm.
sort of a bit more of an extreme level.
Yeah,
Yes.
they raised that. He referred to that word specifically when I know he was talking to one of the other characters. He mentions that and what it means and its sort of representation in his society, so to speak.
Mm.
Mm.
Also, I don't know,
Yeah.
did anyone notice, like in the opening, like the very first scene, it looks very much like Tokyo. Like that's what I saw, like what I sort of noticed, and there's heaps of product placement in it, like McDonald's and Coke as well. But because of the trademark issues, they don't actually have the labels, the Coca-Cola trademark or the
Yeah.
McDonald's trademark.
Yes, they've renamed a lot of things, but use the same styling. Like one of the websites that he uses is I think it's called Taboo, which is like Yahoo. Like it's got the same font. Um,
Mm.
Oh, that's what that was. Yeah,
yeah,
that looked familiar. Okay.
Mm. And also,
So,
I think Google as well, but it might be called something different. And Wikipedia, and it had something about a place for useless information. It had I noticed on there. I don't know which episode it was. It was either one or the second one. I think it might have been the second one. But yeah, he was on
yeah,
Wikipedia, and that's what it's like in English. It had, which I thought was quite funny. Um, yeah, so definitely has
yeah.
that kind of references to the West, so to speak, like
Yeah.
Google and things like that.
Is is Japan like that though? Like, is it pretty? Isn't it? Wouldn't it have those things anyway? It's not like trying to be the West. Would you
No,
say? Like,
no, yeah, it's very much. It's got a lot of things like that that we
yeah,
would like. McDonald's, for example, is like popular over there. I believe
it's everywhere.
it's everywhere. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
But they like with the McDonald's sign, they have to use they don't use the rounded arches. They use like a sort of a angled one, like angled golden M, because like you can't.
yeah,
They couldn't get the licensing or whatever. But it still sort of gets the message across that there's all these sort of brands that are sort of pervasive through the whole thing.
yeah. Definitely, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I guess it's almost like free advertising though for Macca's and that. Oh, we don't. You can't use our trademark, but go ahead and use it in some other form, sort of
Mm,
thing.
Mm.
So it could be the show could be speaking about sort of consumerism as well as technology. I
definitely.
don't know. That's one way of looking at it anyway.
I think like yeah,
I think it does that with some of the collectibles and stuff that it has in the show, like all the little he's had little anime dolls
yeah,
and the little trinkets, the little like frog trinkets. Um, they're like there's a lot of focus on like the collecting of the newest frog trinket thing that's like exactly the same as all the others, but like a slightly different color. Um, and I guess that's sort of a statement about like a bit of like consumer culture. Where like lots of like people feel like they need the newest thing, even if it's not any different, just because it's new.
Mm.
yeah, yeah. It
Also,
seemed like,
there you go,
sorry.
Anna.
It just seemed like the like worlds colliding. It like they had. It's a fictional series, but it had a lot of reality going on. Yeah,
Mm.
that was it.
It was like anime within anime though, because there were lots of references to anime, which I thought was, I don't know, it was a bit strange. Um,
Meta.
Yes, definitely meta.
Yeah. But yeah, the horror aspect kind of brought it back to the fictional world. But it was still kind of
Mm.
like a reality thing as well. Because, yeah, new gen, like kids just being pushed to the limit in a technology crazy world, that seemed pretty plausible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know what else on that. You guys have any ideas? Um, yeah. I can't. I don't. I'm still thinking about the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like, it's definitely you got to think about it a lot. Like, and you got to follow it carefully. Like, it's not something that you can sort of multitask and do something else while you're watching. If that makes sense. Like, you've got to actually sit there and focus on the storyline because it's so out there. Like, you don't know. Um, there's this constant theme of delusions and like what's real and what isn't, and especially with the main character, you don't know what he's like. You don't know if what he's seeing is real or if he's just imagining it, and that's just so. Just as a viewing experience, it's just out there. Like you don't. There's so much uncertainty, and it kind of makes you frustrated because you're just like, oh, I want to know if what he's seeing is real or not.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
They use
yeah.
they use his sort of the delusions as like a really like just to can mess with you again to really just because they show it to you as if it was real like through his eyes and but then you're not really sure whether like are you sort of like inside his head because he's not really sure what's real or not and like so it's sort of you have that same sort of conflict while watching it.
Mm. Yeah. Whose eyes are they? Like that's repeated
Yeah.
continuously. Do you
Mm.
guys know what that means?
I do because I've watched it the whole way through.
Is is that like a revealer? If you tell what that is, that something that's
It,
like meant to be?
it links a lot of characters together. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
the storyline gets more and more complicated after, like, even after the first couple of episodes, and it starts getting, it moves away from that sort of, because the first few episodes, there's sort of this idea that there's, like, as you were saying, there's that, like, sort of brings back to reality all the time, um, and it moves away from that towards sort of the middle and to the end of the series, where it starts really focusing on sort of the fantasy story that they're putting together.
Because
Um,
it's really just there's so many genres going on. Really, I mean, you've got like your kind of
mm,
horror stuff, you got your fantasy, you got some sci-fi in there, you even got crime in there with the string of murders that have happened. It's just like this big just mix of different genres, and it's very I know what constitutes fantasy and what constitutes sort of crime and horror becomes really blurred because it's all just combined into just one series. So that's also, I think, important to sort of note.
and has this level of sort of like romance and drama as well. Like
Yeah,
like the whole time he's going through his head like, oh, what are these women trying to do? Whatever. Even when like that's not necessarily something that's actually going on, but he thinks it's going on in his head, and so
Yeah.
that creates a sort of another narrative.
Yeah. At the beginning, you don't really know for certain if those women are like if he's completely wrong in thinking that. I think like because I haven't seen the other episodes, I still think that he could be right. Like I just the way they seem kind of like what the hell is that girl doing just turning up right then and there? She could be
Mm.
connected to the stuff, the dark stuff.
yeah, yeah. He's like when you first watch, like first episode, the second episode, because you don't know what's actually going on. You kind of trust him and what he's sort of going through, because you kind of like sympathize with him and stuff, and you're like, oh well, I don't know anything else about the storyline, so I may as well just sort of invest my trust into him.
Mm. He's such a
Yeah,
sad guy.
he
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
So you're not really sure if what's going on like is like actually crazy, or whether like he's just sort of imagining all of this crazy stuff to give himself like this exciting sort of storyline in his life.
Mm.
Where
Is that what you're asking, like what we're feeling, or is that what's actually
yeah,
happening?
is
Um, yeah, that's what I think. Like, you don't. I think it's like actually happening. He's a poor guy. This is happening to him, and yeah, he just wants to live in a 2D world. And bloody 3D's getting in the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I want to like believe everything like he's going through and stuff, but at the same time, just waiting for like this massive, climax where he ends up like waking up in some like mental hospital and he's just imagined the whole thing. Like it's like one of those films or like TV shows or whatever where there's a complete twist and you realize that he's just like, it's either a dream or it's he's in some mental hospital. He's imagined the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like that's the sense that I'm getting.
yeah, it
Yeah,
has those sort of themes.
Yeah.
I guess you like come to expect those sort of twists from some media. Like they put all these like, things out there and like, oh, it's too crazy. This mustn't be. They can't possibly make that make sense in the storyline. They've got to justify it with a dream or something.
Mm. It's kind of walking that border, that line, though. It could just continue that way, or it could just, turn out to be a dream. I hope it continues the other way. The dream.
Yeah, you want to, don't you? Like as a viewer, you really want to like believe him and everything. But then it's like in the back of your mind, like, oh no, I bet you it's going to turn out this way, and yeah, it's almost like an anxiety, like you're feeling his anxiety as well, because he doesn't know, what's real and what isn't.
That took a while for me to get used to the way that he feels things. Like I've watched it like 3 times and I didn't like it the first time. I was like, I just didn't relate with the way that he would react to things. It felt really like, what are you doing? This is stupid. But I watched it more and more, and it was just like, it's like the person he is pretty complicated. Like yeah, I don't know. It took me a while to work him out, but now I like him, kind of.
Yeah, I got that same thing as well. Like, I found it hard because I've never really watched much anime, so just like getting used to the aesthetics of it, and these characters and who they are and that type of thing, and their thoughts and stuff. Just like the little things, just getting used to them as you're watching. So like as you watch more of, like, if you watch the second episode, you kind of, I guess, gravitate to him more. You like relate to him a lot more, in that sense.
I think he's a very complex character that they're presenting, who sort of lives in his own little personal bubble that's difficult to understand. So not only is it like, it's another culture, and it's anime, which is something which is a different sort of aesthetic to look at and different structure to watch, but they're also presenting a really complex and sort of unique character through that. And so it takes a while to sort of understand.
Yeah, sorry, it's very sophisticated in their like character development and plot and things like that.
There's so many just subtleties, like little kind of just you don't get bored watching it over and over again because they've put so much thought into how it's going to play out.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, which is really interesting even when it's subtitled, because there's like the subtleties are in lots of the visuals, rather than sort of how it's voiced. I'm not sure, like, because like watching it with subtitles, you don't get the full effect of the voice acting because I can't understand Japanese, but the voice acting you can sort of feel the tone of how they're still speaking,
Mm.
and like the pace, and he seems to speak very sort of disjointed.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Like,
have a lot of trouble getting his voice with how he looks.
mm,
Like, he, his voice seems very, yeah, timid, and then I see this beautiful anime character that's got this stylish hair and great, yeah, just,
Yeah.
yeah, the
It
aesthetics
doesn't matter.
really, no, yeah, it doesn't match.
Yeah. I was going
I
to say
think
I
that,
something.
think the
yeah,
visuals of lots of the it's weird because watching it on the computer you see and then they have the visuals of all the computers, and I think they put lots of detail into all the computer screens in the show, like we're saying with the websites and stuff before, like all the websites on the screens that are being used in the anime, like they're all sort of detailed, they have their own sort of little bits of flair.
Mm. I think too the subtitles were a little bit distracting because I was like trying to focus on the plot and like yeah and everything like that and like all the little details and stuff and trying to work it out. But I was distracted by the subtitles, so I guess that was also kind of a barrier or a challenge to
Hmm.
watching something in it, with subtitles in a different language. Especially when it had like you'd have the subtitles so the character would be talking and then they would have subtitles on top of that with like say they were looking at the computer screen and they were translating what was on the computer screen. Like I found
Yeah,
that really confusing because you were trying to like interpret and take in both the translations of that and they were just going on at the same time. So it was really kind of whoa,
yeah. I
trying
found with some of
to.
it, you have to like almost pause it and like to read through what's going on the screen and like go
Mm,
and rewatch things so you can like focus on the different translations of like all
yeah,
the stuff that's going on.
yeah, I don't really know what General said on the screen. I didn't pause
yeah.
it and go, but yeah.
The version you guys watched, was it translated because the version I've got, the text chat is translated in English underneath each one. Is that how it's translated
Yeah.
on yours? Like what happened? You watched it?
It's
Yeah.
trans Did you have it on the screen?
Yeah,
I was translated next to on the screen where it was. Is that what you mean?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like in the same, like it's like in the same font, like underneath, like it's part of the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting way of like translating it because
Mm.
they've sort of like animated in there instead of having the stuff on screen and then having the subtitles below for the text that's on the screen. Um,
Yeah.
Mm.
They're anticipating
um,
Western audiences.
yeah, yeah. Or see, I don't know if there's like an original version that doesn't have those translations sort of built in, but because the only ones I've seen have them sort of like they're like animated in. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, the subtitles were
that's
kind of like part of the aesthetics of the TV show. Like it was very because they were kind of blended in, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Which probably made it even more confusing.
It made it more confusing.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to make it easier for you. Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like
Sorry.
with like when you're watching something that's in another language, you sort of gravitate towards the bottom of the screen to read the subtitles because that's where you expect them to be. But when they
Yeah,
sort of hide them throughout, like it makes it, I think, a more of like an experience like you'd be looking at the sections of the screen that the original audience would be looking at to sort of read it, um, but you're reading it like able to be read in English,
Yeah.
so you can sort of take in some of the aesthetics that they're putting into the screen, rather than sort of just looking at the bottom the whole time.
mm.
Yeah. Very considerate of them. Um, yeah. Every time I kept watching it, the characters in it, like the kind of the stud character that was picking up all the girls in class, um, he changed. I got a different level of him. I
Mm.
was like, yeah, he like just his reactions to the main character gave me information about what the main character was like more as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's it's sort of an important dynamic because they don't just show you the main character's perspective, but other people's interpretations, like within the anime of him. Like you like get like they say things about him like like in the first episode they're like, oh, so like today's one of the days you come to school or whatever, and so it gives you this idea that everyone knows that he doesn't go to school very often and that he's a bit of a recluse.
Yeah, that's it.
That is pretty effective how they do show different perspectives of him. So, like, from what I mean to say was, like, the other characters, you hear what they think of him, sort of thing. So, like, when I think it's I can't remember which episode it was, but he turns up to school and there's the girl with, I think, the pink hair or something, and she's supposed to be his friend and they've been friends for ages. And they're like, oh, yeah, we know you, but he's like, well, I don't know you. Like, I don't remember being friends with you. I think that was really interesting how, yeah, you see their perspectives of him, and it's almost like two different realities. Like he's in one reality and they're in another.
Like how he lives anyway, because he lives in like they're separating his realities again because he's already in the 2D reality.
Yeah. And then when he goes to the 3D reality, it's kind of just even more confusing because he doesn't know, like he doesn't remember things, or he sees people for the first time but they know him, or like they just act as if they've been friends with him for however many years.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, I don't think I know you. Like, why are you, like, I don't remember you ever existing. And they're like, oh, but we hung out so many times. And so it's like he shuts off his brain from the real world.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Sorry.
I was just. Yeah, you go. Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say that could be in reference to the whole ideas of like the negativity around technology as well, like how it's kind of taking over our lives and things like that, and people just sort of become hermits and sit in their rooms and play games and immerse themselves in anime. So that could definitely be something in reference to that.
So you see like him being played in a negative light, like the way he lives being played out as if it's a bad thing.
I could see the other side, that maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen the other episode, so I don't know for sure if this is true, but like I didn't necessarily think that it was him that was freaking out. I thought that maybe his friends were bad and they were messing, like they're evil. I think they could be evil. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility, definitely. I think too, though, not necessarily painting him in a negative light, but is it otaku? Is that the word? Like that whole concept, I think the show is reflecting that, and how society, certain parts of society in Japan perhaps may perceive, people who are, gamers and, into anime and stuff like that as negative. So, yeah, maybe it's just a reflection of the wider Japanese society, possibly. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it.
So it's commentating on it.
Yeah, possibly. Because, I mean, there's lots of references to Tokyo in there and the setting and Japan in itself. So that's a possibility, I guess.
Well, the whole thing's set in Shibuya, which is, I'm pretty sure that's like a real Japanese city. It's a real place in Tokyo. It's like Shibuya is like the center of Tokyo, I think. Like the center district. So that's why it looks like, that's why you have the first images like of the city and that sort of stuff. Like remind you of Tokyo, because it is.
Yeah. It's one of the most realistic cartoons I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like just like on the like the animation styling and that sort of stuff, or is it? the storyline that you think's realistic?
Yeah, the
Like, was it?
seriousness of the topic, like the topics that they discuss, the seriousness of that, and yeah, and all the commercialism, consuming, and that kind of thing. It's like it's just a part of life, and not many cartoons really have like your consuming levels as so involved in your life. It's like
Yeah.
like if you watch a cartoon and they're doing like everyday consuming activities, there's usually a reason why they're showing it,
Yeah.
but there's no reason like this, or maybe there is.
Maybe there is. But yeah, it's definitely a very like intense series. Like it deals with some really sort of heavy cultural issues and sort of and I guess personal issues as well for the main characters. It's like dealing with like having like the delusions or like hallucinations he have. That's not again. It's not taken lightheartedly.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it's definitely unique to the genre of anime, I think. Because there's not many like animation or like sort of cartoons or whatever outside of Japan and that anime genre that deal with those types of really serious issues.
It's weird that I don't know, but I was just thinking of like all the cartoons that I've seen that have Asian, like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Samurai Pizza Cats, and stuff. Whatever, they just have this kind of weird, like the illusion thing. Like fantasies do come into the characters' heads quite often. Like they just play out scenarios, and you see the character play out a scenario in their head, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's an Asian thing. Something.
Yeah, actually, just on that point, I was reading some article on anime the other day, and it talks about the issue of is anime Asian or not, and so I think that could be something that we should discuss. Because there are different arguments about what if it is Asian or not. Because some people say, like some academics say that it is, and some say that it isn't. Those who say it isn't reckon that it's anime is like a world in itself, like it's a world, it's its own reality. So things like race and gender and that become sort of a bit irrelevant. It's still relevant, but like for instance, so a lot of the characters aren't Asian per se; they're just of an entirely different race. Does anyone
sort
have
of
any?
like raceless in that sense. Like it's.
Yes.
I guess so. In lots there would be that sort of like sense where it's like they're not specifically supposed to be like Japanese characters. They're just written as characters. I'm not sure if that's so much the case in this anime series because like there's so much like reference to like the place of Shibuya in Tokyo, which is a big like it has a really high youth population and like a big nightlife district. And so that adds a whole bunch of sort of context for lots of for the characters in the place. Like all of the people, like lots of the characters in the anime are all very young, and they have a lot of very sort of different perceptions of the world, and they have alternative lifestyles, I guess, and that's sort of based on the place that it is.
Huh.
Well, like if you have.
I was going to say, from my own knowledge of Japan, like since post World War II, Japan
can't see.
is. Oh, you can't see me?
No.
I can see you in the tiny one, but when you talk, it doesn't come up on the screen. It just goes blank.
That's awkward.
Let's see. What can I do here? See if I can fix it.
You just turned my camera off.
Yeah, I'm turning it back on.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
How about now?
Okay, I'm on.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Fixed.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah. Just what I know of post World War II Japan, it's very much like in the decades after that, people or Japan was really wrestling with its identity and its culture. So there was definitely a clash of the newer generations with the older generations because they were trying to get past what had happened, with World War II and
Mhm.
everything. So that could definitely be something that the series perhaps commentates on with gaming and anime and things like that. There's so the emergence of younger generations and their passion for anime and gaming and things like that, and how it may sort of cause friction with older generations. So that could be something that the series is reflecting on.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, 'cause, yeah. The younger generation would have had all those technological advancements just kind of booming around them, and the older generation kind of would just be still a little bit confused, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
Um,
maybe they just don't appreciate it or really understand, the otaku kind of culture in itself.
Yeah, I don't
I think that's a
still.
bit like I think it's a very difficult culture to understand, like because lots of the time when you try and study culture, you try and study people's interactions, and with that, there's sort of a lack of interaction. It's like trying to study hermit culture. Like it's not a thing that can be sort of like across a lot of people um, because the people sort of have their own experiences of it, and because they're so like the whole idea is that you're isolated from other people, you make your own experience of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is strange. Reality gets lost, but you're studying them in reality. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's lots of the fun of this series. You sort of start to lose lots of the reality inside the series because it
Hmm.
doesn't like it gives you lots of different perspectives and so many different things, and you get very confused about reality inside the series. If you start getting
Ah,
confused about reality outside of it, then it's probably doing its job.
uh, yeah, that seems to, yeah, that's what's happening throughout the theme of it, I think, is reality. What is it? Like, that's the theme,
Mm.
maybe. Yeah.
That might be worth continuing watching and discussing again, like after we've watched a few more episodes, like next week or something.
Mm.
Because, like, if you guys are enjoying it, that is. Like,
Yeah, I want to know what happens.
I am now. I wasn't, I came here kind of going, I don't like it. But I watched
mm.
it again just then and I did like it. So I don't know.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it definitely takes a bit of time and attention and thought um to really get what's going on.
Yeah. Uh, the aesthetics, it's just confusing. He's such a like a dysfunctional human being and he looks so great.
Handsome people can be dysfunctional.
Yeah, but they all look great and they're all kind of, except for the stud guy, but they're all kind of socially or motor skills deficient and they all look great. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have like a deep and meaningful conversation just on that alone about like how some people, I don't know, like on the outside they may look good, but like on the inside they're just a mess. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's another
like
level of
he,
it.
yeah, like he looks normal, but um, like in his head he's just completely just not all there. Like in terms of his struggles to perceive like or to work out what is real and what isn't.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not all in like reality. He's sort of splitting his brain in between um, a lot of different what he thinks is real. Like there's the comment like he always comes back to like imagining that anime character like in his room,
That's his
and she's like
safety
his
net.
conscience. Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's like the safe delusion. Like she's still not real, but he uses her as if she was real, like a
Yeah.
conscience.
Yeah. She even says those lines, positive delusions, no negative delusions. It's like, God. Just make aware of the fact. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
interesting because did you guys notice in one of the episodes where he's on the computer and he's trying to figure out like that general guy or whoever that person is, and he's looking at the photo with the dead person with all the daggers in him or in her, whoever it was,
Yeah,
and the imaginary anime girl actually puts her hand on his and clicks the mouse. So she's kind of like, it's almost like she's helping him make decisions. I
Is
thought that was
that?
pretty.
I thought that the mouse fell off the
that's the
table and
that's
clicked.
the first time he sees them. Um,
Oh,
Mm.
it falls
So
off
this
the
was later
table
on.
and accidentally clicks. And there's another time when he's seeing them again. Um, yeah, and her hand sort of goes over his to like make it click on the thing.
uh,
Um, which is really interesting because it's like obviously it's just his hand clicking on like to go at the thing, but like he's imagining that this delusion is like making him do it,
yeah.
and
Mm.
so it's almost like he's justifying his curiosity to see it, but it's like oh
Mm.
no, it wasn't really me.
Oh my God, that's
Mm.
so messed up. So interesting though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like a safety net to him though, the anime character, because there's
yeah,
like a level of comfort when he talks to her and sees her and stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
and there's that the blonde character like that he meets sort of early on who sort of stalks him.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's trying to be like a real safety net,
Mm.
like
For no reason at all, which is really strange.
yeah, she's creepy.
Yeah.
They all, but like
Everyone
there's
has a motive, and she doesn't.
Mm.
mm,
Yeah, when I was first like introduced to her, she was, I know, I was like, oh, I wasn't sure if he should trust her or not. So I was like, oh, maybe she's just pretending to be kind of this shy, awkward, nerdy girl to like, for her own agenda.
Yeah.
and
So
that's
that
totally
really
what he
comes into
goes
play,
through.
that idea of trust.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he
And
goes
yeah,
through all of those sort of thoughts.
yeah.
Mm.
It's weird when he goes through it. I think just trust her. Stop being an idiot. But yeah, if he wasn't going through it, I'd be like, don't trust her.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you want him to trust her, especially at the beginning, because she's like really nice to him and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, you're like just to take her advice, be like a real person for once. But
Yeah.
then he freaks out, and then
But
as it sort of
I don't
moves on, you start getting sort of like, oh, maybe your freaking out was justified, maybe it wasn't. I don't know what's going on anymore.
know. Yeah. They both seem right. Yeah. So it's kind of in the middle. It's like a series that just keeps you in the middle all the time.
Mm.
Keeps you guessing.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it and starting to get intrigued by it because yeah, that's how I felt the first time I watched it, and every time I watch it,
Hmm.
Do you know
I think I've
anything
watched it
about
like about
what?
what were you gonna ask? Sorry,
Oh, do you just know anything about who created it?
I haven't actually looked into any of the writers, um, which is probably odd, but yeah, I haven't looked into that at all, which is probably something that's like worthwhile doing to have a look at it.
Hmm.
just see sort of what influences there are there and what sort of background the writers have, and the animators, or who is involved in it. Um, Although I'm sure it's easy to look up, but I'm just watching the credits now, and all the credits are in Japanese, so they don't have any of the like English translations for like who was involved.
Yeah.
Mm,
That doesn't help.
No.
yeah, but I'm sure I could just look it up and look into that.
He's not a famous, because he makes reference to a famous director. He's like godly director. So yeah, it seems like the creator guy was probably a fan of previous people. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to know if because the anime series that it refers to inside of it, I don't think that's a real anime series. I'm pretty sure that's something that they've been made up for the show.
Uh,
I think. I'm pretty sure it is.
that's that's pretty cool. A director referring to another director and being like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he made it fake, so it's not that cool." But
Well, I don't know if it is. Uh, Blood Tune. Tune.
He could possibly be resembling someone. So.
Yeah.
but you don't really hear of many, because this whoever created this is pretty like a bit of a genius, and like
Yeah.
you don't really hear of many people that are like of that high caliber referring to other people because they're just
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of. Well, that's weird. I'm on the Wikipedia article at the moment, and they're saying it's a game, and then the game got adapted into manga, and then the anime is an adaptation of the game. Oh wait, what? I'm so confused. Anime adaptation of Chaos Head by Madhouse. I'm so confused. The game was released April 25th, and April 25th of 2008, and the anime aired October 9th of 2008.
Right.
So it was a game. It was like a visual novel that was for the PC first. Um, that's totally weird. I never knew that. So there's a whole bunch of different um, sort of different mediums that convey the story, which is interesting that the original one is like a sort of a game sort of thing, sort of a game. The visual novels are a bit different. But yeah,
so
that's something that's worth looking into,
you can
because that
get
would make it like really meta,
yeah.
like playing a game that is like deals with all those issues. Like it being an anime is like also deals with all those because he's like totally into anime, and then you can get like if you got obsessed with the series that is about a dude who's obsessed with anime, that would sort of be pretty crazy. But I think it would be different experiencing it as a visual novel.
I don't think you'd have much of a life. You just become that guy.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Supposedly it takes 10 to 30 hours to get through the novel. Let's see. Is there an English translation? Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's been taken down. Sad. There's a on the Google Play Store. There's a Chaos Head app, which is cool.
Sounds like there's a lot of transmedia storytelling in this series. There's a lot of different platforms where the sort of same story is being told.
Yeah.
You can
Well, that's really
involve.
interesting. I didn't know that before. Well, that's really cool because that sort of plays with lots of the ideas that they have in this, like, sort of in the series, dealing with technology and that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's funny how everything that does those transmedia storytelling kind of things, like Lost or whatever, that is always playing. They play with reality, and they're
Mm.
also involving themselves in wherever they can in reality.
Yeah, the sort of
Yeah.
like the content of the show is playing with like this concept of reality, like in the show, but they're also trying to mess with your concept of reality by watching it and experiencing it.
Yeah. In every way you can.
I
Which
mean,
is
if you have,
totally creepy.
like the story being told or spread across different platforms, those different platforms are essentially different realities from the actual like TV show or the primary media text.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the TV show, I don't know. It's actually made from reality as well. Like it's using real aspects of Tokyo and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so much invasiveness. Like get out.
There's so many levels to this now. This is I'm gonna have to do some rethinking.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just yeah, it really just I don't know, blows your mind just thinking about it.
I'm still interested in it, but I'm very cautious now. I don't think I'm as carefree looking at it.
This might be too real.
Yeah.
So
So,
it was
are we gonna? Yeah, what are you gonna say?
I was going to say that I'm just doing more Wikipediaing. The original visual novel was made by a company called Nitro Plus, which make visual novels, and Eroge, which is like Eroge is like erotic novels usually, or yeah, hentai games.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I've heard of the company somewhere. I
Mm.
think it's pretty big.
Mm.
All right, well that's probably worth looking into at some point.
Yeah.
Um, anything else? So is this a series that you guys think would be worth like watching more of and then continuing talking about sort of the storyline and stuff next week? Or did
Yeah,
you want to move
definitely.
on to a different medium?
Um. Well, we've got to do a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, well we can watch a movie throughout the week and then still continue watching some of
Mm.
this if that's something that you guys are happy to do. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got the links
but yeah,
there, that's handy.
yeah, I'll see if I can find the rest of the links to the rest of the series. That should be
Cool.
good.
It'll
Yeah.
be
All right,
good.
awesome.
It'll be good because we can like reflect on it each week and just like we'll be able to show our different sort of reactions and emotions to it,
Mm.
across all the episodes.
Yeah, well, it's
Which is
cool
yeah.
seeing the first few and then reacting to what you think it's about and like where we think it's going to go. And it'll be interesting to see how correct or sort of way off those are with the series. But
Hmm.
yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
I think
All
yeah, we covered a lot.
right. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you guys happy to wrap it up there?
Yeah.
Because
Good.
we can definitely, if we're going to watch the rest of them, we'll have a lot more to
Yeah.
talk about as well. So, because there is a
Fantastic.
lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much. There's so much.
Yeah. I didn't think there would be, but there you go. Like
There you go.
yeah, I just
So,
honestly I wasn't looking forward to talking about this one, but it has been good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've been able to unpack it a bit and actually like get a bit more sort of ideas and stuff out of it, rather than just sort of look at it like another anime series or just like getting lost in it being an anime.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you for anyone who's going to watch this. Thank you for watching and keeping up with our discussion somewhat. Go watch Chaos Head. It's great. And tune in next week for our next discussion. We're going to be continuing our conversation about Chaos Head once we watch some more, and we're going to be talking about a Japanese gangster film of some description. Caitlin, have you decided which one yet?
Well, I was thinking of doing that Green Dragons one. I've just got to get a copy of it. Yeah, somewhere on the internet. And yeah, I think it's a Hong Kong and an American co-production. It only released 2012, 2013. So by two big name directors, Andrew Lau and Andrew Liu, who are like pretty much like the gods of that genre of crime genre in Hong Kong and China. So yeah, it should be a good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, I look forward to seeing those. So it was Green Dragon. It'd be awesome if you find links.
Yeah. It's called The Revenge of Green Dragons.
The Revenge of Green Dragon. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I just had an idea.
Thanks for watching, anyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Quickly, I just had an idea. Do you want to, for the horror movie one, do you want to watch Audition?
Yeah, probably. That would be good, because like you'd be able to sort of help lead discussion since you've already seen it and had a good idea of sort of looking into it.
Yeah, I've been analysing it for a while, so that'll work.
So that would be good, because it's good to have like it'd be good to be able to like sort of lead the discussion, and you can have Caitlin and I sort of reactions to it and our judging society for the rest of our lives.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Sounds good.
Awesome. You're right with that, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just send us a link.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that's about it for this week, and we'll see everyone who's watching next week. Bye.
Bye. Where's the hang up?